Episode 100. Live from Turntable, New York City. What a crowd here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Oh, man, the music's still playing. Food's coming. All right. Thank you, everybody. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, we were just discussing before episode 1 and now here.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just hard to believe.
So if anybody has watched episode 1, you've seen how terrible we were back then and had no clue what we were doing.
It wasn't a dramatic introduction. He just said, welcome to the, he didn't say the right thing. It was, welcome to the Mike and Vin podcast. That's it. Did you tell him how you were able to use your voice today?
Oh, yeah. So I didn't use my voice all day because I found out from Taylor Swift when she sings, she doesn't talk all day before or after shows. So I didn't talk to Mike for 3 days. So it's the first time he's heard me in 3 days. So it's all good. Mike, we're here at Turntable LP, New York City, 34-36, West 32nd Street, 5th floor. And then next to us is our special guest, the owner of Turntable, Victor Lee. All right, So before we really get into Victor and the show, for those that don't know, we are actually live also on KKFI in Kansas City. And for people that don't know, KKFI, the radio DJ, Lisa Lopez Galvin, who's a member of KKFI, was the individual that was killed during the parade for the Kansas City Chiefs. So we just want to take a moment of silence to remember Lisa and her family, and just for a second for that. All right, guys, that's it. All right. Thank you. As always, the website, vinandmikepodcast.com. Please go there, take a visit, and all that. All right, Victor, we're going to bring you in here. Tell us a little bit about Turntable LP, karaoke bar, New York City, fun stuff.
So we have the best fried chicken.
Yeah.
Bring that in. Grab that. Grab that.
Go ahead.
It's so good.
This is a platter of 20 wings. We have 2 flavors. We have spicy and soy garlic. It's double fried.
All right.
So that's why it takes about 20 minutes for it to come out.
All right.
And the crunch is unbelievable.
Very good. Very good.
I could attest.
The crunch. And we have our shots here, right? What do we got? Soju. All right. So everyone, tell them about soju. And nobody knows about soju.
Soju will just mess you up.
It's getting messed up.
A quick little cheer, soju.
It has half the alcohol content, like compared to vodka.
Yeah.
So it's a little weaker.
It's a smooth drink.
Smooth drink.
It's a very group social drinking drink. So,
Okay.
Sure.
All right. That's it. You got anything else? Any other good stuff? All right, let's jump right into it. So we haven't been on, Mike, since the Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
So let's do a quick recap, talk about it a little bit. Give me some of your feelings on the game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I felt from the start the Niners were so lucky to be there. And I had a feeling that Kansas City would really pull through. Pat Mahomes to me is the Michael Jordan of basketball.
Yeah.
You knew in that fourth quarter going to the overtime that he had something special, that he was going to win it. But in that game, Niners had the early lead. It didn't seem like Kansas City was making the right moves in the first half, but then they made really good second half adjustments. And Spagnuolo, you have to commend him for an excellent effort on the defense. But what people forget is that extra point that was missed.
Yeah.
And that was key because that really changed the trajectory of the game, put Kansas City right back. But hats off to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, they keep doing this. They're in the AFC. The Jets are in the AFC. I don't know if I'm going to live to win a Super Bowl.
We'll see. All I know is a boring-ass first half. I was, like, bored out of my mind during that first half. It was just so bad. I was like, is this game going to end up this way? And then, the second half kicked off. And like you said, Mahomes he's just a different animal. I don't know. As a Raiders fan and you as a Jets fan, I don't know if we're going to beat this guy. Antonio Pierce already has put in the Mahomes rules for everything. We know what the Jets have to do in order to get there. But can we beat this guy? I mean, Victor, you're a neutral guy. What do you think about Mahomes?
I feel like this year, Kansas City had a great defense as opposed to previous years, because Mahomes carried the team. He would go like shootouts with every other team, but this year I feel like the defense has stepped up to the point where they were actually the difference at the end of the game, especially against the Bills when Chris Jones, which he's a free agent this year. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but I think their priority is to re-sign him and also tag L'Jarius Sneed. So Mahomes doesn't have to carry the team anymore, I feel like, because that team is so well balanced now. I feel like this past year is more of like the floor of their potential.
Yeah.
Because, they have another draft pick coming up, free agent, because they are actually going to probably invest in offensive weapons.
Yeah. I mean, you made a good point, Mike, about Steve Spagnuolo. He's probably a Hall of Fame coordinator. And when I think about it through the years, usually guys at that level become head coaches, right? I mean, he was a head coach and failed at it, but he's won 3 Super Bowls in Kansas City. He beat Brady when he's with the Giants, got 4 Super Bowls essentially as a defensive coordinator. He's probably not going to get another head coaching job at this point unless he takes over for Andy Reid down the line or something to that effect. But they just re-signed him again as a defensive coordinator. And I think he's an interesting topic when it comes to the NFL Hall of Fame in general. But talking about coaching, let's talk about Kyle Shanahan and some of your thoughts on what he did in the overtime and what you were thinking when all that stuff happened.
I mean, the fact is, I don't think they didn't really know those overtime rules because I think they were just so amped up that they didn't realize it, that when they chose to get the ball first, Kansas City, they didn't realize that Kansas City would get the ball and they should have done it the other way. So I didn't think they were thinking, and that was a real turning point.
Well, if you remember, one of the things you said to me that was a key thing was Andy Reid compared to Kyle Shanahan.
It's all coaching.
And you said the coaching was extremely important when it came down to it. And the Chiefs actually coached overtime during practice, right? They went over how overtime worked, what they were going to do, and essentially how it was going to work out. And Andy Reid specifically said if the Niners even scored a touchdown there, that they were going to go for a 2-point conversion on their end. So it didn't make any sense in the grand scheme for them to take the ball. Did you think of that during the game? Like, what were your feelings there, Victor?
I feel like, hindsight 2020. I feel like him taking the ball first. He had to score anyway because Kansas City had a chance to score. So I feel like Kyle Shanahan is like criticized a lot for someone has to take the blame, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, it comes down to the coach.
Yeah.
What do we say that the Kansas City had pretty much a mediocre year
the whole year.
But true teams, they're not going to remember the regular season. They're going to remember the playoffs. That's where Andy Reid comes in. That's where Patrick Mahomes comes in.
Yeah.
That was the difference. And that's how they're a scary football team. They're always going to make an impact.
No one's going to remember that Kelsey didn't have 1,000 yards this year. All the stuff that goes along. All they're going to know is Taylor Swift was at all the games.
She was the MVP.
Yeah. Especially for CBS with the top-rated show in the history of TV, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, Super Bowl was a while ago. We needed to recap it because we haven't been on since then. Let's just move on. Let's move on to what we really want to talk about. The New York Knicks.
Let's hear it for the Knicks.
Not a lot of clapping for some people out there. There's some Bulls fans out there. I see. I see some other.
I'll say this: that I'm right now. We're in a 4 seed right before at the All-Star game.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
But this team plays with heart all the time. Jalen Brunson it was great seeing him in the All-Star game, even though the All-Star game was terrible. It was nice seeing him.
My feelings on All-Star game.
When he was traded to the Knicks, we had concerns. We didn't know. Everyone wanted Donovan Mitchell, but he's done such a great job being that A player for the team. He alleviated the pressure off Julius Randle coming in. So they've been playing so well, and obviously Randle's hurt right now. And then the recent trade with Barrett and Quickly again, Vinny, we were on the podcast. He was saying this is terrible. What's going to happen? But there was a lot of redundancy in the guard position. So you trade these guys. You got OG Anunoby and Precious Achua, who's been fantastic.
Yeah, who's a throw-in.
He's been exceeding all expectations. But the Knicks are a force. And then you got to get past the Celtics and Milwaukee. But I truly think with this squad, they have a good chance. They do, and they have to stay healthy. We have a lot of injuries right now, and there's a lot of depth because of those injuries. But once they get back to things, they'll be right there. Those Knicks.
Of course, the biggest worry that we know of that we just read is that the surgery for Randall's shoulder is not off the table yet, right? So if he's going to have surgery on that shoulder, he's probably out for the year. And at that point, we're no longer that force in the Eastern Conference. We know Boston is surely into that number one seed, right? Like that's where they are. Between 2 and 8, it's a 7-game difference, right? So we could fall anywhere from 2 to 8. And without Randall, it doesn't matter if we fall to 3, to 5, to 7. It's going to be very tough to move to the next round, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think, Victor? You're a Knicks guy.
I feel like the bench, like you haven't seen the full potential of the entire roster playing together.
Yeah.
So, Mitchell Robinson's been hurt for the entire year, and he brings like a defensive presence in the post. And Bogdanovich has just arrived to the Knicks. Yeah. So you haven't really seen the entire Knicks team together healthy. So it will be really interesting to see how that will look like. And I feel like as long as the entire team is ready and healthy by the playoffs, I feel like this team will probably maybe go to Eastern Conference Finals. Possible.
It's very possible.
That's what we're hoping for, at least, right?
Boston Celtics are the only team to beat, right? I mean,
the Bucks are falling apart.
There's some Bucks fans in here. Don't say.
Bucks.
Good old
a team to watch out for is the Miami Heat because they're in like 7th, 8th seed.
You think they'll do the same thing that they did last year?
Like go to the finals?
Yeah, like they were an 8th seed last year, weren't they? Or 9? Weren't they like a?
They were
play-in?
deadly. Yeah, they won the play-in game and then they went far.
Yeah, I don't know. What I was amazed at. This is what I'm more amazed at, and I'm an older guy than most people that are here. So I got to see Jordan play from a rookie to he retired and all that stuff. And he was 61 years old on February 17th. And I'm sitting at 61.
61.
He's 61. You feel old?
He looks the same 10 years ago.
But what'd you think about
he gained a little bit of weight, but
yeah.
Let me tell you, he still gives me nightmares, right? Like every time I see him, as you know, Mike, a big NASCAR guy that I am with my son and get to watch it with him and my whole family and all that stuff. And, Jordan owns a NASCAR team. He owns 2311, right? And I see him and I still get freaking nightmares. Who sent us? Oh, Steve. Steve sent us the video of Ewing missing the shot against Indiana.
I know. That was
why did he do that?
Because he's trying to think it was bad memory. No, it really made me think of 90s basketball. It really did.
It always does, right?
And it was funny. Mr. Tack back there sent me a clip of the NBA on NBC. And I will say this, that there was nothing like that when you heard that theme go on a Saturday or
awesome,
Sunday,
right?
And you knew that you were watching basketball and those Knicks-Pacer rivalries, Knicks-Bulls rivalries.
Great basketball.
But, going back to that, you're right. I did have nightmares from that because I remember when I was a really little kid, the Knicks played the Bulls. It was like 1990 or 91. They got swept, and then nightmares every year after that. You just couldn't get past Jordan. And then in 94, when they made the finals, when Jordan set out that year, the Bulls still took them to 7 games that year. That's how good they were even without Jordan. They still took them to 7 games.
I think we were like the only team to ever take Jordan to 7 games because every finals they only went to, the most 6, right? Yeah. They never went to a 7th game in all 6 of his championships. Yeah. He freaking was like the best player I've ever seen in my life.
Not only the best player, but he rebranded the NBA.
I mean, this LeBron James crap.
Well, not even that. Not even.
Sorry.
Not even that, but
sorry, people.
But Larry Bird and Magic Johnson came in '79, and they were great for the league, but the NBA was still on delay.
Yeah.
But when Jordan came in '84, he rebranded the NBA. Then there was the sneaker and everything. He rebranded everything. But what people forget is that it took him 7 years to win a championship. now you have a lot of these players, and that's the difference with the NBA now. They shuffle team to team to team. Jordan he wanted to stay with the Bulls. They built that team. They won against the Lakers, and then the dynasty really changed. They had to get past the Lakers. They had to get past the Celtics. They got to get past the Pistons. So those were some good times for sure.
I just got a quick question. And we'll just talk more 90s in a second. But were you shocked that Larry Bird, who's probably the second greatest Celtic of all time, give or take, it depends on how you feel, just met Jason Tatum for the first time at the All-Star game?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that.
How is that possible?
I don't know. Larry just hangs out now.
Does he ever leave Indiana?
I don't think he doesn't want. I think he stays in.
Well, I know he works for the Pacers, right? He's still like a consultant or something, but. Yeah. But how does Boston not have him like at any event? Like, it makes no sense to me.
That is hard to believe.
That's like Aaron Judge saying, "I've never met Derek Jeter." Right?
Pretty much.
How is that possible?
No.
What are they doing? Wonder why they haven't won a championship. You know what they're doing there?
Oh, God.
What do you think?
No, I feel like Jordan. He's the first player to globalize basketball, right?
Yeah.
After the Olympics in Barcelona, the Dream Team. I feel like he was the one to put basketball on the map for everybody, especially in Europe, like the Dirk Nowitzkis of the world, the Luka Doncic's of the world. And I feel like you have that Jordan and LeBron debate, but I feel like the person that has that generational impact, such as, like, let me give you a parallel, like Tiger Woods, he's had that impact globally and brought non-golfers to the game. That's why I feel like Jordan is definitely better than LeBron. There is no debate on that.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
That's how it is.
That's how it is.
Can we get an audience poll? Is Jordan better than LeBron?
You can't compare.
You really can't. Wait, Kyle, grab this mic.
Grab the mic.
Yeah, Kyle. Kyle Mansky.
Kyle Mansky. He's been on the show 4 times. Let's hear it for him.
Yeah, Kyle. The mic will pick you up.
I hate the Michael versus LeBron debate because you really can't compare. It's a different time. It's saying, like, well, is Will Chamberlain better than Michael because Will dominated when he played? Like, you're born when you're born and you play when you play. Will Chamberlain was born in the 60s and was a giant, but that's when the NBA was up and coming. Michael Jordan played in the 90s where free agency wasn't as often, not as much trade, and NBA really took off then. And now I look at LeBron. Like, LeBron, in my opinion, outside Kareem, is the most accomplished player. Most games played, most points, just like 20 consistent years of being the best player. And even at, he's 38 right now, playing at a high elite level. LeBron also gave up. People forget he gave up four years of his prime because his goal was to win 1 ring with Cleveland. And that 1 ring meant more than the 2 in Miami, the 1 in LA. And it's, at the end of the day, it's a team sport. Is Michael accomplished a lot? Absolutely. Is he still the GOAT? Absolutely. But you need a full team. You need a full roster. You need a good coach, a good system to put in place to do well. Individual talent in any sport can only take you so far. So I hate the whole who's the GOAT, who's better, because each one is the best for the time that they played in and what they have accomplished based on their career when they played.
So you look at it as 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or generationals.
Exactly.
And you shouldn't compare each generation.
Right. So, like, when the NBA started in 1946, like, the best player then in the 50s was George Mikan. George Mikan was the most dominant player. Then you had Bill Russell come in. You have the 60s Celtic, and between them, Will Chamberlain, the 76ers, the 70s Lakers, and then that took over when the NBA was dying in the 70s with Larry and Magic saved the league. As you said, it used to be tape delayed, and people actually started watching their games. And in my opinion, my Bucks, their best decade was the 80s. And of course, and it's the same time that you have the 80s Celtics and you also have the 76ers. You have 2 really, really good teams. And those were some really good teams for the Bucks. And then that takes over by the 90s. 90s, you have Jordan and the Bulls. And then there was that weird transition where Kobe was the best player. And then starting in 03, LeBron has taken over. And when LeBron retired, I think they're searching for an identity. Who's going to be the next guy? I could be biased. I'm a Bucks fan. I think it's going to be Giannis. In my opinion, the best player in the next couple of years.
Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson.
Next, you're going to say Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah, Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
That guy couldn't hit. Fake news. But now I think they're searching for an identity. And in my opinion, I think it's going to be Giannis and Luka are going to be the next best players, and it won't even be close.
All right. Armando, I know you got something to say. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Thank you. A couple points. I mean, I do agree with the importance of LeBron in the last couple of years, but I also think that to me, he's the greatest statistical player of all time. I'll concede the whole thing about the longevity, but that he hasn't. I think he's only played 82 games in his 20 years. To me, that takes away from him because this whole load management thing that is happening right now, I'm not a fan of. We can argue the whole debate. And again, I'm not going to take about how important he's been to the league in the last 20 years. But honestly, at the end of the day, you're there to win championships. And if you're 4-6 in the finals and you choked in 2011 like you did, I am sorry, you cannot self-proclaim to be the GOAT scoring 8 points in a finals game. So to that, and then the international thing about the globalization of the league, I'll point out 88, because 88 was a huge turnaround. And that whole thing that the U.S. didn't win the gold medal in 88, I think that was a great thing for the NBA because it became the turning point of the NBA players actually globalizing the game. Right. So that is very important, and that loss to me kind of changed the whole argument of the globalization.
Right. All right, thank you. All right, guys. All right, good. Good stuff there, guys. Good stuff. All right, Mike. Can we talk about how good Patrick Ewing really was?
Yeah, I love to talk about that.
No ring.
Come on.
Thanks, Dad.
You
don't. No, my dad would always give me crap because he never won a championship.
He did not.
But what I'll say is that just watching Patrick, is Vinny and I talk all the time. He didn't have an all-star playing with him ever. He had to really carry that team. Yeah, you had John Starks, but we know his inconsistencies, right? But who did the Knicks, aside from him, who the Knicks really?
Charles
Oakley, and that was a big trade for them when they traded Cartwright for Oakley. That's when things started getting better for them.
It helped the Bulls too.
It helped the Bulls get a center. It helped the Knicks get the forward. Then the Knicks started to get progressively better. But I love Patrick. He played with a lot of heart. I can't forget the finger roll when he missed it, though. I mean, there's things that just kill me still as a Knicks fan. But, I mean, honestly.
And the Scottie Pippen dunk.
Oh, thank you. And the Scottie Pippen dunk. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for rubbing that in.
Yeah.
I'm a Knicks fan, though.
We know.
By the way, me too. They were up 2-0 against the Bulls, and then they lost.
And I know they got swept.
Just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you.
Or Charles Smith forgot how to dunk.
Nothing better than the John Starks dunk.
That's right.
That was great.
I just wish that maybe if Larry Johnson, like when he was in his prime before his back injury, if Larry Johnson was playing with Patrick Ewing, I feel like that would have been like a very dominant front court.
Could have been.
It could have been.
But at that time, Ewing was on the downhill of his career.
Well, that's like the best team that Ewing had was the Sprewell, Allen Houston,
99.
The strike season when they played the Spurs. That was the best team he ever had, but he was done. Like he was shot, right? He was totally done. His knees were done. Yeah, he was done.
And just going way back, what could have been before Patrick Ewing, there was Bernard King. Bernard King was
Rory Sparrow,
his favorite player. He was decent, but Bernard King got hurt.
Tucker.
Oh, yeah, those great teams. Yeah, who else was on that?
Lewis Orr.
The Knicks were really, really bad. But he could have played with Bernard King. He could have played with a lot of people.
Well, Bernard, tore his knee before they had all these crazy, ACL surgeries and all the stuff. You know, guys now want to get hurt so they can repair injuries that are minor.
Yeah.
Right, because they come back stronger than they are.
But just talking about that whole generation,
Mhm.
every team back then had some kind of superstar representation. Like you had Utah, Stockton Malone, Celtics, Larry Bird, San Antonio, David Robinson,
Yeah.
Rockets, Akeem Olajuwon. It was just, every team that came into town, you knew who the players were, and it was a lot of fun. Back in, with my dad, we used to go to the Nets games, and we would sit there.
Derek
But
Coleman,
it was Derek Coleman, Chris Morris,
Kenny Anderson,
remember that?
Drazen.
And Drazen Petrovic, who I think doesn't get enough recognition because he was an amazing player. And actually, I think it was Reggie Miller who talks about him, said that was the most feared player that he played against was
Really?
Drazen Petrovic. Yeah, he was talented. But yeah, we would go to Nets games and they were never sold out. It was a pleasure just watching the games
I'll give
there.
you one good Nets story.
Here, take the
All
microphone.
right, give him the mic. Give your dad the mic.
My dad, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So when the Nets first became the Jersey Nets and they moved from, I guess, Long Island, they were at Rutgers. And I had season tickets. And I sat behind the net bench. And the Nets lost 14 in a row at home. The 15th, the home game, they switched sides. I never saw that my entire life. And for the rest of the next couple of years, my seats were behind the visiting bench. I never heard of that in my entire life. True story.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Good story there.
Thank you.
That's funny. That's some of the funny stuff. All right, Mike. I'm gonna, just take a little break on sports because I just want to give some updates about episode 100 and
Sure.
how important that is to us. And I just want to give the audience here some quick stats. Right, 90% of podcasts don't make it to episode 4. That's 90% of people that start them. Right. The remaining 10%, right? 90% of those don't make it to episode 20. Right? We're at episode 100. We've had sponsorships. We've been part of networks. We've worked with DraftKings. We've had FS1 Joy Taylor on. We've had some great guests that are in the audience here that have come on. This is a special podcast, in my opinion. We're doing great things, and I'm happy to be doing with you here at episode 100.
Yeah, I just want to thank. For those who don't know, this whole thing started during COVID.
It did.
Vinny and I were out for dinner, and that's when you had to do the whole Vax card and you couldn't
Had a mask on.
mask. It was a very different time. And we walked in, we're sitting at the bar, there was a Ranger game on.
Yep.
And I turned to Vinny because we worked together and all we did was talk about sports every day. I would go to his office, talk sports for like an hour. My boss is sitting there. I don't think he can. But back in the day, and work day, I work hard.
Still looking for a job.
So we would just talk sports. And then at the restaurant, I said, Vinny, what if we did a podcast? And without hesitation, he just said, yeah, let's do it. And you know how some people say, let's do something and it doesn't happen. We just said, okay, what platform do we have to use? How are we going to reach an audience? What are we going to do? And I feel that, Vinny and I, some of you maybe just met me or Vinny or us both, but I don't think if you're the same kind of person, it would ever work. I think we feed off of each other well. But the one thing that we do have is the passion for this every week. We both love doing this. We both love talking about sports every week. And as Vinny said, we had ex-NFL quarterbacks. That we had, Richmond Webb from the Miami Dolphins twice, and we're very, very humble. And our friends who made this, our first guest actually, and he couldn't make it today, was Jeff Maspool, our friend from E-Trade. And he put his hand up and said, I want to be on your podcast. So we're grateful for anyone who comes off the show. Kyle, who you just heard from, he's been on 4 times and he's
now 5.
It's his sports knowledge, I think, is for his age. I never see anything like it. We're going to see him on some sports trivia show one day because you're incredible. But everyone we're really grateful for. And we're going to keep doing this. And what can I say? I can't believe we're at 100.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
unbelievable.
And thank you to Victor again for
Yeah.
hosting us.
Yeah.
We didn't even ask, right? Victor just basically said to us, come here and do it, right?
Yeah.
We didn't even essentially ask, and he set up this room the way you guys see it. All the stuff that's going on here. He's been the most humble person throughout this, so we thank him a lot.
Yeah.
So
Very grateful.
all right. And
Thank you.
just so everyone knows, Victor. So we're gonna turn back to sports now because I'm tired of talking about the show. Victor is a University of Michigan graduate. All right, so
Steve over there.
Alumni there.
he's a very happy camper here, as everybody knows.
There's a few people that say it's tainted because
Well,
cheating scandals.
Yeah. All right, so I want to know how you feel about Mr. Harbaugh leaving and where the team is, moving into next year.
I feel like next year is probably like a rebuilding phase. JJ McCarthy is going to the NFL, and right now we don't even know who our quarterback is. It could be Orgy. He's more of a dual threat. A lot of the defensive and offensive players have gone to the draft, so it's going to be a big transition year. And Harbaugh going to the NFL, I mean, I really don't fault him for that. He brought Michigan a championship, which we've been longing for a long time. And he's going to do really well, I feel like, the Chargers.
I hope not. I don't need another.
Oh, you're a
kicking
Raiders
team.
fan, right? You're a Raiders fan.
I already got this Mahomes guy. I'm tired of him.
But it'll be really interesting because, the college football is going to be expanded to 12 teams
Yeah.
for the playoffs. So,
Yeah, that's very interesting, especially like this year, right? Like Florida State,
oh, yeah.
Uh,
So no one
Ohio
can complain.
State,
No one can complain. Really.
Georgia, right? Like they all were teams that everyone's like on the fence with. But
Right.
now next year they would all make the tournament,
Right. No one's going to
quote
complain
unquote
about
tournament.
the 13th or 14th team.
No,
No.
no. At that point, you're getting in teams with 2 losses. It's more about these teams that didn't lose or have 1 loss that
Right.
actually belong there.
But I mean, Michigan has a really tough schedule coming up. A bunch of teams from the Pac-12 went to the Big Ten, USC, Oregon, Washington, and so forth. And we also face Texas this year. So hopefully, I'm optimistic. Maybe have 2 losses, and that'll probably sneak into the playoffs. Who knows? So
I mean, I don't care.
No.
Your team loses, they lose.
Vinny, you're so negative.
No, I'm not negative. I'm just telling them the truth.
No.
But I like the 12-team playoff format. I really felt like Florida State got screwed because their quarterback essentially got hurt, and they were like, "Oh, if we put Florida State in, they're going to lose by 80 points, right?" And they ended up losing their bowl game by 80 points, but the entire team transferred, right? And that's the other problem. I think this is what makes the playoff system better is that all these guys go into the transfer portal or go to the NFL. You got 15 or 1,600 players that were. I think with the playoff format, these guys have to stay in school and they have to play. Right. I mean, now you don't have to worry about these guys
and all these
transferring and
all these
sitting
bowl
out.
games
They were terrible.
essentially meaningless.
They
No
were
one
awful.
plays. No one plays because they're going to pay for it.
Yeah, it was.
They're all ready for the draft.
So what do you do to keep it? What do you do?
The playoff format's going to help.
You think that will help?
Yeah, it should. But you know what they also need to do? They have to put some kind of probably like college football cap in place now, because these name, image, likeness, any NIL or NIL, whatever you call it, deals are bigger than these NFL contracts. I mean, I see some of these deals. I mean, you're talking $100 million deal for a guy that's 19 years old playing in college. And then another team comes along and goes, well, you can come here and make 150 million, and then they transfer out and they go over there. I mean, they have to do something in terms of like a cap, right? You can only have this much nil money for your team because you got to keep, you got to keep some kind of parity ultimately, and you got to stop all this transferring and making the game watered down. I mean, those bowl games were terrible,
awful,
terrible.
They're unwatchable. Speaking of bringing things back, we got to talk about the NBA All-Star game because
no, I don't want to talk about that crap.
I got to talk about it because how do you bring it back to where it was? It was awful. I don't know what was worse, the game or the slam
Well,
dunk contest.
Larry Bird told them to play, go out there and play. And they didn't do nothing. They scored 211 points.
It's
That's the stupidest thing in the world. It's worse than the stupid NFL thing, the flag football. That's dumber than crap too. I'm tired of all this. You know how I feel about all this all-star stuff.
It's terrible because the teams used to compete. Shaq was even saying when he was on the East, he's like, I want to beat the West really bad. Like, there's none of that competition anymore.
Where were we when we watched the 93 All-Star
We're in
game?
Hoboken.
Right? We were watching it?
Yeah.
The 93 All-Star. That game was insane. Like, they were bumping and grinding, hitting each other. I love the video of Jordan and Kobe when Jordan was older, Kobe was younger, and they're talking crap to each other during an all-star game and playing defense and shooting shots. That's NBA basketball. These guys all want to be friends and kiss and hug each other. Charles Barkley wouldn't. You think he wanted to play with Michael Jordan?
Pat Riley, when he coached the Knicks, he wouldn't let them shake hands.
Yeah.
That's it. They just
Who
they
did
do that.
Shaq used to say that he was afraid to play against Patrick Ewing, that Patrick Ewing intimidated him, right? I mean, that was the way the NBA is. Now it's like, but to Kyle's point about the way, things are now, and to Armando's point, LeBron plays in this like lovely atmosphere. I can only play 60 games and, everybody's my friend. Come on, this is competition. I'm not saying to kill each other, but go out and play some basketball here. Let's get rid of some of these rules. Throw an elbow, old school Rick Mahorn. Boom. No?
Those were some good days.
I should bring like East versus West determines who gets home court advantage.
Right.
Like,
they were saying that
something
actually.
like that. Because I think Major League Baseball
Like the
will do
baseball
something
did that.
That's
Yeah, they took that away from baseball now.
Why are you saying no?
I just think of like
Grab the mic again.
Oh,
Grab the
hold on.
mic again. Hold on. Kyle Mansky again, everyone.
Kyle Mansky.
How do you fix it though?
Oh, he's going to tell you right now. He's going to give me the solution. He's got it.
what I think really works in the most successful of the four major all-star competitions is actually NHL. How NHL does it is if you do like a 3-on-3 round robin where you have like each division play each other. So you can have what I would do for the NBA All-Star game is like, all right, you do 4 or 8 small teams of 3 to 5, and each one's a captain. So Giannis, Luka, whatever, Dante DiVincenzo,
Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson. Like, you have the top 8 people, and then they do their own player draft where they draft like their own 3 people, and it's just a random order. It's not like based on most votes. It's just like random goes. All right, you pick 1 through 8. You pick 3 people. These are the 3 people you're going to play with. So if you're big like Giannis, like, okay, you're going to get a guard. You're going to get 2 guards. Or if you're a point guard or whatever, you create that. So if you want an all small ball lineup with 3 guards, that'd be great. If you want all 3 bigs, I think that'd be fun to see, like, you know, like a team of like Giannis and Nikola Jokic playing against Tatum and Jalen Brunson. Like, I think you do that, and then you play like 8, 4, and then 2, and then the winner gets either it's like whatever, like the in-season tournament, like $1 million grand prize. So either a bonus for that, half of that is bonus, and then the other half is for that team's charity of choice.
Wow. I'm going to get Adam Silver on the phone
Yeah,
right
you,
now.
yeah. You got a whole plan in place.
I think that's the only way. You're never going to do it.
Let's call him. Let's put him on.
I just think of like when MLB, I think, did the right thing getting rid of the home field advantage. Because I think of the 2011 World Series. The Brewers lost to the Cardinals for the 2011 NLCS. I was at Game 6 when the Brewers were eliminated. But that year, the Rangers had a better record than the Cardinals. But they're like, oh, because of some game in July, you get home field. Where you're like, well, what if you're like the Dodgers or like a higher team? Like, well, we won 120 games. You lost the All-Star game. Like, not a realistic assessment.
Mm-hmm.
So none of the All-Star games are ever going to be perfect, but it's an idea there to try to make it somewhat entertaining instead of a 211 to 200 snooze fest that I actually fell asleep watching on Sunday night.
No, I got
It
it.
was horrible.
By the way, there's 20 wings over here. People start grabbing them. Let's walk up and grab them. All right,
Pass them
pass them
around.
around. I just realized that. Yeah. By the way, Victor, grab the tower to show on the screen here.
Yeah,
I
please.
gotta show
This
everybody.
is something else.
Yeah, we gotta promote the show.
Promote it.
Promote Turntable. So you come in, you get a nice beer tower here.
Beer tower
Look at
here.
this. Gotta show them.
Go ahead.
It's for about 6 to 8 people.
Yeah. Put it towards me. Yeah. All right. So
When it actually comes out, there's like dry ice smoke coming out.
and you can get any beer you have on tap into there. All right. Yeah.
Impressive.
All right. Give it back over there. Just let them start drinking it. Start taking some beer from that too.
Right over there.
Yeah. You guys help each other. All right. All right, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle.
Give me that mic back, Kyle. There we go. All right. All right. I don't know. We'll shut that off. I don't know how to do that. All right. Victor,
Yes.
you're a neutral NFL fan. The NFL draft is coming. And you guys can all feed into this because I know a
Yeah.
lot of you guys are NFL fans. You're the Chicago Bears.
What do you do?
There you go.
JJ.
Well, first you have to draft Caleb Williams because you have to reset the rookie contract.
Okay.
You're not going to pay Justin Fields $30 million a year.
Or
right?
40.
Or $40 million. So if
Okay.
I was the GM is Ryan Poles.
He is.
Yeah.
He's still there.
If I was a GM, I would trade the number 9th pick and Justin Fields to the Patriots for the 3rd pick to take Marvin Harrison.
So you draft Caleb Williams and then
Marvin Harrison.
and then you
Because
get
you
Marvin
have
Harrison.
a generational talent at quarterback and a generational talent at wide receiver. And the Patriots get a franchise quarterback. They get the 9th pick. And they have $70 million in cap space. They could sign a Mike Evans. They can maybe draft Rome Odunze, which is the 2nd best prospect, wide receiver prospect. And you compete with the Miami Dolphins, the Jets, the Bills, because they need offense, to be honest with you, the Patriots. So I feel like that trade would work out for both teams.
Oh, yeah. Any Giant fans out here? No? Oh, yeah. You want Dave, you want Justin Fields? If I said, I'd give
Want
you
the mic?
Justin Fields?
No.
You want
He's
Justin
done.
Fields? No. Okay. No Justin Fields for the Giants. I never thought want Daniel Jones. I never thought of taking Field and actually trading up because my thought process is always like these teams are going to come in with a 2nd round pick, like Atlanta, Pittsburgh, the Raiders, like someone like that will come in. But to trade up to the Patriots and give the draft pick back, that's kind of interesting.
Because you don't know
That's
if
kinda
the
interesting.
Patriots were sold on Jaden Daniels or Drake May, right? So
Yeah.
if the Commanders if the Patriots want Jaden Daniels and the Commanders take Jaden Daniels, what do you do there?
Yeah.
You have a semi-proven quarterback in Justin Fields, where instantly your offense is.
I have the same worries about Jaden Daniels that I had about Bryce Young about his size, but that's about it. Go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say Justin Fields should be Aaron Rodgers' backup.
You might need him.
Might need him.
Where's Zach Wilson going, Mike? Come on. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. Come on.
Way to torment me.
I want to hear where he's going.
I don't know. I still think he's going to have a home,
Are you gonna get him for a 7th round pick?
7th or 8th. No, I don't know. It'll be interesting where he ends up. I don't think he's going to start anywhere.
I think a team might give him an
He'll
opportunity
give him
to
an opportunity to
compete.
be a backup,
Like maybe go to Tampa and compete with the Baker Mayfield.
potentially.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think the Jets ruined him?
Well, I think it wasn't an easy situation over there. I think what the Jets did was the biggest mistake at the beginning of the year is when Aaron Rodgers got hurt that first game. They should have went for a veteran quarterback. I mean, they wasted that. They could have had someone to make a difference because then you were just repeating last year, the season before, and they couldn't get out of that slump. So that was the disappointing part. If you would have had a veteran quarterback, I'm not saying
No,
they had injury. I'm not saying that would have made them a
You didn't-
Super Bowl team.
No, I mean Joe
but-
Flacco wasn't going to take you to playoffs, right?
But I think it,
Do you think a lot of that had to do with Aaron Rodgers not wanting a veteran quarterback backing him up?
I don't know. I don't think he was really adamant about that. I don't think he really cared about that. I know he wanted to. I think he wanted to groom. He was all
Zach
about grooming
Wilson.
Zach Wilson, but that obviously.
Do you think he was on a groom because there was no competition? or you think I know there's some Packer guys out there. Do you think Aaron Rodgers didn't want a veteran
Come on,
coming
Mr.
in?
Codman. Let's see what you got to
Well,
say.
it's conjecture, but I don't think Rodgers would have wanted another. I think, like you said, he wanted to see Wilson succeed.
Okay.
You know, I mean, they spent a lot of time together in preseason trying to help him, and it was, Wilson got dealt a tough hand.
He did, and I'll say this: what he improved upon from the previous season to this season was the accountability aspect. He was young, he was arrogant his first year, but then he would say, "Listen, this is on me." I think he learned a lot of that from Aaron Rodgers.
I hope so.
I think he gained certain maturity from Aaron Rodgers. But all I'm hoping for this year is a healthy Aaron Rodgers, some success. But these guys like Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, they're not going to stay much longer if we keep losing. So you got to put some winning into place. You got to put the right people together for this team because they have the talent. It's just they've had injuries and just they need an offensive line.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, the kid from Oregon State is where a lot of guys are projecting for the Jets to tackle. I mean, everybody wants the kid from Notre Dame, right?
Joel.
I don't see him slide into 10, but who knows? By the way, I made the comment about Jaden Daniels being small. This is the only reason is because my wife is a huge Jaden Daniels fan and she's watching us from home. So she doesn't want me to say anything bad. So
Okay.
she wrote in the chat, "Hey, no bad things about Jaden Daniels." So I did that on purpose, just so everyone knows.
Yeah. I have a question.
Go ahead, I'm ready.
Going away from sports real quick
Yeah.
because of this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
We've done 100 episodes.
Yep.
Is there any one in particular that really stands out to you? All the ones that we did.
Like non-celebrity kind of like stuff.
You could do celebrity one. You could do non-celebrity. Just something that you just. Really
So there's a few that I'm like extremely appreciative of. Antoine Staley, who, if people don't know, he is actually the Daily News beat reporter for the Jets, and he made a commitment to us, not this year but last season, to be on every Tuesday just to talk about the Jets. So I was very appreciative of him making time on his off day, because if anybody knows anything about the NFL, Tuesday is everybody's off day. It's the reporter's off day, it's the team's off day, it's everybody's off day. So that on his off day, he made it a point to say he would spend time with us. So I'm really appreciative about that. And I honestly, I mean, the star quality of someone like Joy Taylor, who hosts a Fox Sports show every day, Monday to Friday, 4:30 to 6 p.m. Eastern time on FS1, to get back to us right away, set up time with us, telling us she has a 20-minute hard stop, and then spending 33 minutes with us, right? Like went over it and all that. So, I mean, those mean a lot. Many friends that have just made their time to come on, and we've given them times and they've just made time for us, right? Like they've never said to us, "Oh, can you make it at 7 or can you make it at 8?" They're like, "Oh yeah, we'll be there at 6 or we'll be there at 5. Thank you for having us on." I'm appreciative of that. There's a lot of people, in the room here that I know have been on the show and just made time for us. So I'm appreciative of all that. Yeah. How about you?
For me, the Joy Taylor one was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But also Renee Washington being on, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And
I spoke to Renee. She's working. She can't. She, of course,
and she's,
I invited her, but she can't make it.
She's on MSG. She's doing so well now.
Yeah. And Joy's in Costa Rica,
so she can make it.
She can't make it.
She would have been there. No, but I agree. I mean, our friends, again, they're always, when we make the call, they say, I want to be on.
Yeah.
Happy to be on. Just a programming note. We just found out today that Danielle McCartan from WFAN is going to be on in a couple of weeks. So that's really exciting for us. She's coming on.
Yeah.
So people were asking me, what do you see changing in the show in the next 100 episodes? We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. I mean, people are like, how do you get your guests? I think Vinny's name helps. Vinny Lombardi
Helps. It helps.
But in all seriousness, no, we do everything professionally. We send out professional emails. He's on Twitter and he'll tweet people, and they agree to come on our show, and it's been helpful, and we'll continue to network with people and just have a lot of fun. So
If anyone out there in this world knows Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because I've written to him and his agent, and they've rejected me, like I told you, Victor, but I'm going to keep trying. I want Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the show. And here's the reason why I want Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the show. There's no one in the history of sports at any time was the number one player in high school, the number one player in college, and the number one player in the pros. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the number one player at all levels from 14 years old to 40 years old. To me, he is the consummate guy in sports. Like, he is what sports is about from when you're a young kid and how you succeed and how you progress on a sporting level. So that's why I want to have him on more than anything. Because not that I'm saying he's the greatest basketball player ever, but at some point in his life, he was the number one player at different levels.
all those levels.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because Jordan can't say that. LeBron can't say that.
No.
Wilt can't say that. You know, you can go through the whole list of guys. They just can't say it.
Yeah.
But Kareem can say it.
So
yeah.
So
Mike, we're on 51 minutes. We have a whole crew of people here. Again, everyone just clap. I don't know clap. Listen, everyone clap. There's a lot of people here. There's a lot of people here. All right. All right. So I think at this point, I think we should just end the show.
yeah.
Enjoy our 100th. Enjoy our guest. Go have some wings. Go have some, what else? Dumplings. What else? What else, Victor?
Fries,
Cheese
all that
pick,
good stuff.
soju.
Soju.
All right. All right. Again, everyone, thank you for coming here. It's been great. We very appreciative of everybody here. Mike, go ahead. Finish it up.
No, I can't. What he said, just so appreciative. And as I said, everyone's sitting in this room right now. I know there's others outside here that we all know you from different parts of life, whether you got childhood friends here, work friends, people that college roommates here. Just so appreciative. So thank you. And we're looking forward. We'll see you at the 200.
Yeah, and thank you to my family at home, my wife, Melissa, my daughter, Angelina, my son, Sebastian, and Anthony, I see you. See you guys.